Nina Harris. It's very nice to meet you,
Yeah.
Miss Harris.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in too. So the one thing you need to know on the radio, and that's the only thing, besides just being relaxed, is you need to go so close to the microphone you're almost touching it with your lips.
Oh, do you?
Really close, like almost
Okay.
touching it. That might remind you.
Okay.
And if you get some headphones on, we're going on in 2 minutes. Delphine, I'm so glad we finally got you on.
Oh, okay. Let's see now. Wait a minute. Because I lost my reading glasses.
You know, you don't need to read so much. It's going to ask you to talk off top.
Yeah, but I gotta talk. I'm gonna talk off the top of my head, but I gotta know. I remember all my stuff I got over there.
Okay, once you got some headphones next to you.
Oh.
So maybe if you want to put some on, so you can hear what's going on. This is Harry, by the way. Harry's our station manager. Harry, a woman named Barbara might be coming in and stuff.
Thank you.
And your camera.
You wanna? Cause you have a live, right?
Yep. Oh, you wanna go live?
I didn't go live yet.
But we need to do some. Oh.
Broadcasting from New Haven, Connecticut.
Hello and welcome to Dateline New Haven. I'm your host, Paul Bass, inviting you to look behind the headlines on the stories that make New Haven tick. Delphine Clyburn makes New Haven tick. And you know, we've been on the air for 2 years, folks, and I can't believe this is only the first time we have Delphine here in the studio. It's such a pleasure. I'm so glad she's here. Delphine has been an alder in the New Hallville neighborhood since 2012 and making things happen. And we got a scoop for you folks. This Saturday, she's announcing that she's running for re-election to a fourth term as an alder from the 20th Ward. She stopped by the WNHA studio to talk about what's going on in her neighborhood. And she's come with Zelina Harris, an accountant who lives in New Hallville, works on community efforts with Delphine. And it's so nice to have both of you in the studio. Thanks so much for coming out today.
Glad to be here.
So Delphine, when and where is your announcement on Saturday?
It would be at our learning program on Shelton between Star and Hazel.
I was just there yesterday remembering what the place used to be. So that's like a triangle, not quite a triangle, but a crossroads of land between some streets that go in a little bit different directions there and some rail tracks, I believe. And it used to be known by a different name back in the 1980s. It was known as the Mud Hole. It got memorialized in a feature in the New Yorker as being where there's worse drug dealing in town and violence. And New Haven's come a long way since then, and we've built some new housing around there. But now we've renamed that stretch of land, open land, the Learning Corridor. You've been very involved in that, Delphine. What have you done with the land? What happens there?
Yes, we call it transforming New Hallville. And in our learning quarter, it is a green space. Also, we're on the Farmington Canal, and every Saturday at 9, we host our walk with the doctors. from primary care at Yale. Also, we have our festivals there now. We have a fall festival in October. Also, we have a spring festival that we host, and the spring festival is our Family Fitness Day, and it's an event that we do because it's on our National Trail Day. Also, we have our Christmas sing-along there, where we roast marshmallows and we sing Christmas carols. Also, on Thursday, we have our Beautification Day, and we plant. The children in the neighborhood come out to plant. We have games and crafts for them, and they have their snacks. Um, Also, at the corridor, we hold our Families and Friends Day. My church do hold our friends and family there now. And we try to use that area for any nice thing for our community to enjoy.
So there's one central plot of land where a lot of people are passing all day and all night. Shelton Avenue, Star Street. You're near that big intersection with Munson, a few blocks away from Munson and Dixwell, where that all meets. Where a lot of bad stuff used to go on, just lots of positive activity takes place there now, and you're involved in a lot of it. Are they still doing the free food breakfast, the Black Panther style free food giveaway and the food giveaway on Sundays?
I'm not sure if they started yet, but I know it was great last year, but I'm not sure if they started yet.
And Delphine, you're going to hold your re-announcement there on Wednesday. What time again?
Saturday, my announcement will be at 12 noon.
And so I guess it was not an accident that you picked that spot. Does that spot to you symbolize what New Hopeville can be and what it is, as opposed to what was once going on there?
Yes, I picked that spot because that's our transforming spot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the spot where I hope that we all can gather and let that be our area where we hold our entertainment, come and speak, talk with each other, and enjoy each other, and get to know each other even more in the neighborhood.
And why are you running for a fourth term? Now, you've been in Alder for 3 years. Being in Alder is a lot of time. You came on with another one, Brenda Foskey-Cyrus, that year, and she's not going to run anymore. Some people are running to take her place. Frida Edwards has been older for decades. She's also going to step down. So you're sort of now going to be the grand dame of New Hallville Alders. You're the one who's sticking in. It's a lot of night meetings. You're a very hard worker. Your day job is actually a night job often. You go to a lot of neighborhood meetings. You go to downtown meetings. You have people calling you all the time to fix sidewalks. Why do you want to still do that?
Well, I still want to do it because there's still work to do. I love my elderly and the children and everyone I serve. So that's why I'm going to stick to it, because there's still some things that we need to do. Like we still need their services. We still, I think I will give the city maybe a C plus, but we're looking for a on city services to make sure that our streets are done, our sidewalks, the trimming of the trees, our elderly services.
Wasn't there is Star Street right by the Learning Carter? Isn't that where there was an elderly gentleman who's been asking for a fixed sidewalk for something like 20 years? He stood up at a public meeting. He said, "My last wish before I die is to see that sidewalk fixed."
Yes, I remember that meeting.
Has his sidewalk gotten fixed?
On Star, I'm trying to think now.
Near Shelton, I think.
Yeah, Shelton. I think that gentleman was on the other side, but there was my elderly who was on Butler and Butler and Ivy who needed their sidewalk done.
Did it get done?
And he got 3 months to enjoy it. He passed after that.
Oh, that's where he lived on Butler. Oh, so he got the sidewalk, but then he died.
He died, yes.
And he had 3 months with his sidewalk.
3 months with his sidewalk.
And how did you feel as the alder? Am I right to assume that you made a call and said, "Can you please get the sidewalk fixed"?
I was very crushed about that because, I want to say this. That ward has needed things. This is 30 and 40 and 50 years, 60 years, some of them live there. So to keep crying out about our services, it weighs heavily on me. So we have started getting some things done, but you want things to be done where people can enjoy where they live. And you know, with these things being done, it deters crime when your neighborhood looks well. So,
And again, it's that nitty gritty stuff with getting older that makes such a difference to constituents' lives that we don't always hear about downtown or in the city way. I mean, how's it look to you, Zelina Harrison? How long have you lived in the neighborhood?
I lived in the neighborhood for over 20 years.
Can I ask you to get close to the mic?
Yes, sir.
Did you grow up there?
Yes, I did.
So you're and why did you stay in the neighborhood? What do you think about the neighborhood? What do you like about it?
I mean, my street was very, very quiet. On Norman Street, it was a very, very quiet street. Um, and as time changed and evolved, things have definitely been a little bit louder. But it was a place where I grew up, where we, had homeowners, got to play with other kids, and it was like, it was enjoyable. You got to be a child. You got to enjoy your childhood. And as time has changed, that has definitely made a huge difference. Now that you have a lot more renters. And I will say this, though, Delphine is actually the first elder that I actually met on my street from the time that I lived there that has actually been extremely active.
So have you gotten active because of Delphine?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
So she got. I know that's talking with a lot of other people in Orville too. That she's encouraged them to start showing up management team meetings when you have some issue downtown to come downtown.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think I would ever have gotten involved as much as I have if it wasn't for her. I mean, I could definitely give her credit. She definitely goes from house to house, and she
Yeah,
makes
I've seen it.
herself
The
known.
doors. They call it the doors.
Yes.
She's on the doors. So what have you done? Have you gotten active? What kind of issues have you gotten involved with, Lee?
So I do a lot with the management team. I've been actually working with the management team since last year. With Delphine, I actually have my own nonprofit company, which allows me to actually do some things in New Hallville as well. I used to do a book bag drive. I'm doing my second book bag drive this year sometime. And
Book bag drive. That's when people get book bags for the kids when they go back to school.
yes, and Delphine has definitely been a part of that and have supported me on that, and I'm definitely grateful for that. And putting that word out and just trying to, really encourage these kids to do better and know that they can have more and they can be more no matter what their environment says.
So you know what strikes me most? I don't live in New Orleans. Whenever I'm in New Orleans, like I was there yesterday, you know what I notice more than anything that I see so different is the community gardens. The most beautiful community gardens in New Haven, and the most are in New Orleans. Yesterday I was seeing one guy's on Star Street. These old guys who sit there every day with their chairs in front, and that's like a farm. I don't know when you start calling a garden a farm, but you're talking about land that goes back that once upon a time had a house and a yard. And these people cultivate just these huge plants and so many vegetables. I mean, you could feed a city and something. You're shaking, you're nodding your head, Delphine. Tell me about that. What's made all these farms prosper? I mean, and they're also beautifully tended.
yes, I am just so happy you mentioned them. I forgot that. We do so much. I love them. That's their haven over there where they grow their own vegetables. They give it out to the community, and that's their gathering. A lot of the men there are retired, and they work diligently in that garden. And they also have a time where they even cook for the community and let us come enjoy and talk with them. And I also want to tell you about our other garden that we have on.
There are, I think, at least 12 gardens, community gardens.
Well, this is one that the neighborhood is over. The one on Bassett and Newhall. And that is a beautiful garden. We just started that. This is our second year. And we had our own farmers market over there. We put out the vegetables for people just to come to get them free. And we have a flower garden over there as well. And Mr. Harris, he's the one who run that one on Bassett and Newhall.
Now, when you're thinking about cities, you don't usually think about so much green space when there's density. You have a lot of people living close together. You have a lot of older houses. It's an urban area of businesses. You have schools. But we have all these gardens, and you have all this nature right in the middle of all of it.
We're grateful to have it because it makes your area look alive. And these are the time where people come together and they work together. And it's just grateful. Even our, we have now, this is our second year having our ambassadors. These are young people who got jobs.
11 teenagers. So there's
Yes.
every management team, which is in every neighborhood or town in the city, they got money from the city. They said you have $10,000, you can spend it how you like. So your management team, Delphine, for the last 2 years, I believe, has used that money to hire teenagers for the summer to go pick up trash in the neighborhood. And they get it. Our reporters out there do the story. They get a new appreciation for their neighborhood and why you shouldn't throw paper on the ground. So how's that been going this year?
This year's been going very well, and they've been out there, you know, cleaning different streets, over also to New Hallville Gardens to help our elderly with their planting. So I think the kids are doing a great job. Some of the little girls, they got to get used to that. You know, they're scared of like little bugs and things, but it's been going great. The young men just get right on there and they help out. They help out at our bird sanctuary. I don't know if we know that we have a bird sanctuary in New Hallville, and that's on Ivy and Dixwell, right
Actually,
at
the
the
mayor,
corner.
Tony Harper, is having a re-election event there Sunday evening.
Yes, she
Tell me
is.
about the bird sanctuary.
Oh, it's a beautiful place. I had my first announcement there, and it rang like crazy that day. But it's beautiful. It's a lovely place, and our children help clean there too to get ready for the mayor's event. So it's a nice
And
place.
that's sort of how we turn challenges into opportunities. A lot of those lots were vacant over the years. People that abandoned houses. In Hallville, if I'm not mistaken, used to have the highest rate of black home ownership in the city for many, many years. Dixwell was the renting neighborhood. I guess when you were growing up, then the crack epidemic did hit the neighborhood pretty hard, and a lot of jobs were lost over a few decades at the main employer, Winchester Arms. But then the neighborhood's been coming back through the efforts of people, and part of that has been reclaiming those vacant lots that used to have abandoned slum houses. Come on in, Barbara. Having abandoned slum houses on. And Barbara Green just joined us. Barbara, why don't you grab some headphones? You can pass some headphones to Mrs. Green. I'm going to tell you who just joined us in the studio. You're listening to Dateline New Haven, WNHH Radio. Your home for community radio at 103.5 FM, live streamed at 103.5 FM. We're talking about New Hallville today, one of New Haven's great neighborhoods. And Delphine Clyburn has been a alder there for 6 years, and she is announcing on Saturday at the Learning Corridor, which is the new name and the new mission of what was once known as the Mud Hole on Shelton Avenue and Hazel, right?
That's
Hazel and
correct.
Star
Yeah.
at noon on Saturday. And also joining us in the studio are two other people in New Hallville who work with Delphine and others to make their neighborhood better. So Lima Harris, who grew up, and you say Butler Street is where you grew up? Dorman Street. And we've just been joined by Barbara Vereen, who's a very active member of the neighborhood. Barbara, are you the ward co-chair, Democratic ward co-chair in Ward 20?
Yes, I am.
I'm going to ask you, Barbara, if you don't mind, to please get so close to that microphone. You're almost touching it with your lips, but not quite. And Barbara, but you've been involved in stuff for a lot of years because I've seen you around. You're involved in labor stuff, right? You work at Yale or you're with the union?
Yes, I do.
What do you do there?
I'm a labor organizer for Local 34.
Of Unite Here?
Yeah, of Unite Here, but I'm a university employee.
Okay, you're a university employee.
Yes.
And you grew up in New Hallville, right?
I grew up in the Dixwell, New Hallville area.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And I hope you don't mind, I always bring up that you're related to Ben Vereen, the famous dancer, Broadway star, right?
Yes.
And what is the relationship to the Vereens in New Haven? Are they like cousins?
Cousins, yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so what have you been involved in New Hallville these days with Delphine and Zelina? What are some of the ways you see the neighborhood changing, getting better?
Some of the ways I see the neighborhood getting better is what more community people being active in the community. Delphine has done a wonderful, wonderful job of being out on the doors and engaging our community to come down to City Hall and be active participants in what is going on in the neighborhood and in our city. Other ways I have seen, like we have now a community park on Cherry End Street.
I did want to ask you about that. So Cherry End Park is such an interesting street. Half of it is Hamden, half of it is New Haven. And you live on that street?
My mom lived on that street. I
Right.
live on Pond Street, which is 2 streets over.
So you and Delphine and other neighbors spent a lot of time bringing the people from both sides of the street together because you'd never realize that when you're in two different towns, actually, you have different people to go to about garbage pickup or police. And there was this whole overgrown area at the end of Cherry Ann Street, which swings around to a dead end.
Yes.
But it opens into this big area that's a lot of nature that goes behind to where Jackie Robinson School is and Beaver Pond Park. But it was disused. It was overgrown. No one back there. There was dumping, and the kids had nowhere to play. They were playing in the street. And you guys got together, and the city responded to you eventually in the Parks Department. You all got your and you URI, the Urban Resources Institute. You got rakes. You got all the kids together and the grown-ups. You cleared out that area over time. You got some help with some grant from Scotts Grove that the mayor got, and now we've opened that up as a real park. Correct?
Yes.
That was a few weeks ago. So was that like when that finally opened?
I think it was a lot of work. I think it took Delphine coming to the neighborhood, doing a lot of outreach to the neighborhood. Her and my mom worked as partners, and my mom lived on the Hampton side, and it took her going reaching out to her council person, connecting Delphine and the council person of Hampton together to say that these two towns need to come together to change the neighborhood. That street is plagued. It has about 60 kids that live on that one street on Cherry Ann Street. And so it was a good outreach into the neighborhood. And it took a lot of door knocking to get people on the other streets to actually get actively involved.
Delphine's actually one who taught me what it means to be on the doors. It's not just when you're running for election, that you regularly knock on the doors, and when she comes, she always has something to tell people.
Yes.
Like once it was about whether or not they were going to become some historic district where they'd be qualified to get money to fix up their homes, or if there's going to be a community meeting about crime. That Delphine, you were about to say something. I interrupted you about the door. Where did you learn that? Was that from labor organizing or what?
Oh, well, it's just what you do. You're on the doors. Even with my job, I am a union member, local 1199, and
You work at group homes, right?
Yeah, I work at group homes.
State groups homes, state owned.
State group homes.
So you work for the state government.
I work for the state, yes.
And those are long hours, right? Don't you stay up all night with kids?
Oh yes. I'm working sometime from 2 p.m. in the afternoon till like 6 in the morning.
Wow.
Then sometime I'll go in at 11 at night and work from 6 in the morning. So it is long hours, but I love it because I see the growth and I see them learning what they can learn as people with different disabilities.
And how did you get involved with 1199? I'm sure you're tired when you get home from work, but did you get in the whole routine of you're home from work, but then there's other work to do for union organizing or going on doors?
Oh, I got involved with 1199 because when I became a state employee in 1985, I became a part of that union. And what made me become a part was I was treated very bad by one of the supervisors. And I said to myself, I had better get to read my contract. And then I started being a delegate to represent our members.
What was the boss doing to you?
Oh, what happened? They said to me, you are on. I had worked third shift, and she said I was going to, no, this is what happened. She called me from my house, and she said, you are on today. I said, I'm not on today. Please look at my schedule. And so, being who I am, I said, okay, let me go. But I had to leave my children, go to work, and then when my supervisor came in, she said, why are you here? You need to go home. And from that point, I started really getting involved with my union and learning my contract.
And then what about going on doors? When did the union start having you go on doors, knock on the doors to organize people, to meet with people?
Oh, I started on those doors back in '87.
Was that starting mostly with elections, or was it signing up people to vote for something on a union?
It was, I was living in Bridgewater at the time. That was involved with my clients, going to their homes, talking with their parents, fighting for the needs of their loved ones. And then also with my union, we started going to different states, doing different blitz. also running different campaigns in other states. So
So
that,
they must have recognized you were good at it if they're sending you out of state.
oh yes.
What do you like about being on the doors? What do you like about knocking on someone's door? I mean, some people don't like it. They say, "Gee, I'm nervous to talk to someone I don't know. Maybe they won't want to talk to me." You obviously have a flair for it. What do you like about that?
I love when I go to the door and they're sort of grouchy, and I can make them feel happy, and I can bring some joy to them,
Yes.
and let them know I love them, and what why we're there, and they come around, and that's just me from a little child, about 5 years old. We always had to go and take care of other people, family members. Growing up in the South, you had a couple of generations in one home, but then after you came home from school, you had your homework to do, and then you would go and check on other family members or just people around you that didn't have someone to take care of their elderly. So that's where I started, on my doors right there. Go into the
So
doors.
talk about your elderly. One place I've seen you hanging out is Newhall Gardens, which
Oh.
is also right near the Hamden border there, and also right off the front of the Canal Trail. And that's a public housing development for seniors. Pretty small. Right? What would you say? Maybe 40 people, 40
Oh.
apartments?
It's 27 apartments.
And you've had some issues with heating over the years when they were freezing. They call their old, and you come out and you call the housing authority to come and get them heaters. And how are things there now?
Tell me
How's the
about it.
community doing?
They're doing good now. I can remember those days, calling around to get help from them. No heat, had to get involved. So I didn't want to go this way, but sometimes you have to go that way by getting the media involved, just so they could see what's going on. And so they have the heating now. They're doing a transformation over there now. Newhall Gardens has been bought.
It's not owned by the housing authority anymore?
It's they will pay their rents and everything to them, but it's called RAD. It's a transformation there. They're gonna be doing the apartments over. They're gonna be leaving some of them, not all of them at one time. And I forgot the name of the company now who have them, but they still will pay their rent, to my understanding, to the housing authority.
Okay. And another issue that's been in the neighborhood, Zalima, you were talking about growing up in New Orleans, people mostly own their homes. Did your family own their home?
Yes, we actually still own the home.
And do you still live in the house you grew up in?
Yes.
How old are you?
I am 37,
And
I have 3 children of my own.
And you're living in the house you grew up in?
Yes.
And do your parents still live there?
Yeah, my mom.
Isn't that sweet? So you got 3 generations. That's so old fashioned.
Yes.
Does it work well, or is it like, oh my God, we're in each other's face, or oh, this is great, everyone takes care of each other, and the grandparents know the kids?
It's actually really good because my mom is amazing with the kids, so I can't complain. I'm blessed.
And you're an accountant.
Yes.
And do you work out of your house, or you go?
I actually work out of my house, but I do a lot of consulting, so I do a lot of traveling as well.
Oh, okay. And so one thing that's changed is that you mentioned earlier in this episode that there's a lot less home ownership, there's a lot more renting.
Yes.
And that a lot of it is some of these groups own a lot of property in town. Pike International, Mr. Levitin.
Mandy Management.
Mandy Management, Levitin.
Yes.
And how are they doing? Because I know that's another issue. I saw Delphine on Cherry Ann Street when the garbage wasn't getting picked up. I mean, how are these landlords doing? There have been issues raised about when groups own a lot of subsidized housing, but they're private landlords. Are they doing the job?
No, they don't. They don't care. I mean, and because they don't have to live there. And when you don't have to live there, you're not going to make sure that everything's picked up. You're not going to make sure everything's clean. You're not going to make sure that these kids have a safe environment to play in. And which is sad because when you're a lot of renters don't care because they're like, I don't own it. So when you have a homeowner, you have a greater appreciation for your home and outside of your home.
So what's Dorman's view? Like Dorman's still mostly homeowner?
It's like half and half.
And which absentee owners have moved into your?
We have Mandy Management, and I know we have one other one, but I'm not sure what the name is. But Mandy Management is there, and they have a couple.
How are they doing?
They are not the best.
So what have you done about it? Have you talked to Delphine?
Yes, we actually my mom I spoke to Delphine, and she, I can definitely say she does a lot with pushing and also trying to gather everybody together to really fight for the streets, for their neighborhood. The only issue is she can't do it by herself, and it's like with Dorman Street you have a split. One side she has, the other side somebody else has, who we don't even know is in existence. So and the older, we know is her, and she definitely pushes. And when you call her and you need her, she gives you the resources that you need to go to, and she always goes the extra mile and making sure that, you know what, did you call this person? Did you call that person? You know, I'll call them for you. You know, and that's one thing we definitely appreciate and forever grateful for.
Now, Delphine, how about overall in your ward? I've seen you confront Mandy Management. It's not just Mandy Management. It's also Pike. It's also Leviton. It's also some companies I can't even keep track of.
Right, Diamond.
Diamond's still around.
I think it
Because
is.
they had done some shady stuff where they were getting
Oh.
in trouble. So how much of your time does that take and how's that gone? Like, what are you doing about it?
It takes a lot of your time. I even have gone down to talk with them to find out what they own in my ward.
Which one are we talking about now?
I went to Mandy for this, and I had to give them my license, and they did give me a list of what they own in the neighborhood, and so that's how I know where their properties are, and I try my best to communicate with them, whoever they have managing it. Um, you know who gives me great help in the neighborhood? He's an unsung hero, and that's Mr. Ted Farrell. He is a ins- inspector for LCI. So he has a great relationship with Mandy Management. And when I go to him and tell him I have a problem, he is the person that Mandy will do for. I mean, so.
So do you see the results if you make the complaint?
Oh, I see the results. Oh, yes. Just right on Hazel Street, they own this building now. It's a five room apartment, five apartments there, and one on the property. And they didn't want to clean all the way in the back of that yard, cut down things. Mr. Ted Farrow told them, until you do this, I'm not going to put this person in this home. And you know, the next day they were out there cleaning up. So he can get them to do things.
And you had contacted Ted about that.
I always contact Ted about it.
And we're contacting Delphine Clyburn, the alder of the 20th Ward of New Hallville, and two of her constituents who are very active in the neighborhood, Zelina Harris and Barbara Vereen, are with us today in Dateline, New Haven, on WNHH Radio, your home for community radio, at 103.5 FM and live streamed at havenindependent.org. Barbara Vereen, I saw you out yesterday in New Hallville at the juncture of Munson and Orchard and Shelton. Where there was some city officials, although the top cops are all out of town, but some other police officers and the mayor and her people were there, wanting to talk to the neighborhood about what they're doing about violence in New Hallville, given that in the last 2 weeks there have been 3 shootings. A 14-year-old boy was killed, 13-year-old boy shot in the leg, 21-year-old, I understand this had to do with drugs, dispute, was also shot. It devolved that did not turn out to be just a kind of calm press conference. People showed up and they were very frustrated with the officials, and they said, we don't want to hear you come out and tell us all the things you're doing to help young people. We want to hear how you're going to stop this from happening. What was your take on what was going on?
My take is that people are frustrated. People want to see action. People want to see a plan that involves the neighborhood being a part of the plan. The city has done a lot of wonderful things. They have a lot of programs that they're implementing, but I think people want the city to come to the neighborhoods and actually hear from them and implement some of the things that they think will be helpful. I was a little taken back because I think people were looking for a roundtable discussion, and it wound up being a press conference. And I think that the communication, like if something like that is going to happen, I think what the community want is one, respect for the community and the community leaders, that we are notified when things like that is going to take place, so that we can be actively involved, and so that we can have, so that our
It was
voice.
supposed to be at Lincoln Bassett originally. What happened? Why did that change?
I don't know. I know it was a contingency of us waiting at Lincoln Bassett, and was later told that everything had shifted to Mount Gilead's church that was on that corner, and so we came down. And so I think that part was, I think a lot of us found that a little disturbing, that the information was not communicated properly, given the fact that we all was together the night before at the Democratic Town Committee meeting and there was no announcement made there. A lot of us heard about it through phone calls and on the news that morning, and so it was trying to like get people together at the last minute. But I do think that people want something to actually be done and want things to be heard. The other part of it is that there's the basketball tournament happens every Sunday, right?
That in Bassett Street School?
Yeah, Bassett Street, held by Gary Gates, and he's been doing it for a number of years. And I think one of the concerns is that when there's something bad happening in our neighborhood, people come out and they publicize that, but not one time has people come out or the news media come out and highlight the good things that go on in New Hallville. Like every year they have the New Hallville reunion at Bassett Street Park. Every Sunday he has the basketball tournament. Every Saturday at 10 in the morning they have cleanup day at the Cherry Ann Street Park. There's a lot of good things at the learning corridor. There's always something going on for the kids and planting gardens. There's a lot of good things that are going on in New Hallville that does not get publicized. But one of the things that does get publicized is when there is violence or something of that magnitude. People want to see more things done. One of our biggest concerns is that we do not have a community center in which people can actually go to. And so,
you know the one near River Givers Church, the New Hallville Community Center, whatever, is that functioning as a community center?
not to my knowledge.
So what happened with that?
Oh, that.
I cannot tell you what happened with that. But I know there's not a functioning one. But
So
we
the
do
Q House, that's not New Hallville, that's in Dixwell.
That's-
They're still building that. How do you feel about that?
I'm a product of the Q House.
Oh, you grew up the Q House?
I grew up and I went to the Q House. So I do think that those things have a lot of value and help. And, from that age from 14 to 18, we really need to find something to do with that age group because they're too young to go to they're too old to go to after school programs, and they're not old enough to quite get jobs in the city. As we know, jobs is a big issue in our community. And so that's an age gap that is left out. And then you have the 18 to 21-year-olds that is in transitioning, graduating from high school. You heard a lot of talk about that yesterday. But I do think we have to find something to do with our youth and bring back programs that really was enriching to us, and it really helped develop us as young adults. And I think that is what's missing
And
in
you're
our
talking
community.
about the bad news, and obviously it's very important when a 14-year-old gets shot dead. We do want to talk about that. But as they were saying yesterday, violence is so much lower in New Hallville than it
Yes,
was.
it is.
I mean,
Yes.
one murder so far this year. There were 3 last year. One's too many, but when you talk back to 2011, there were so many shootings that it wasn't a big deal every time someone got shot. Delphine, do you feel okay with how the police have been doing? What's your take on crime control in New Hallville?
Well, the crime in New Hallville has been down. We have not really had any problems there, until this happened. I want to we do have some problems like with different people selling drugs in their houses, but to shooting, we had not had that in a long time. And according to my lieutenant or
District manager?
there there is no gangs. Reed Street used to be a place, where they
The
said they
famous
had
R2.
R2, yeah, but they're not there, and everything was good and quiet in my neighborhood. And Tyree had just moved there. His family has been there for a year. They came there on a emergency placement, and Tyree was a good young man. He was a dancer. He went to school. He loved his mom. He listened to his mother, and he was just walking home from the court that Sunday, him and his little friend. And they said they didn't even hear anyone behind them. They said they didn't know anything. This is the little girl who's talking until someone got out of the car with a mask and shot Tyreek. And we forget about her too. She's around and full of trauma
How
herself.
old is she?
She's 14 as well, and she was 5 months in the ward. They both were new in our ward. And to our understanding, this came from people from the outside.
Right, there was some
Group
argument. There's the
8.
Exit 8 group,
Yeah.
and they've been at a teen party or something, and there was an argument about a girl on Instagram.
See, I don't know that piece of it, but I do know from my district manager, these children came from route, not route, but exit 8, they said. So, and then the little boy, when I was celebrating my elderly's birthday party, which we do every year on Daisy Street, the call came in, someone was shot. And this little boy, we learned that he did not live in the ward either. And to my
Are you
understanding,
talking about the 13-year-old?
the 13-year-old that got shot in the legs. But I'm saying right after Tyreek, I feel like this, that we should have had officers around the court. Our walking beats that day when I went out there, I left, there were no walking beats there. I didn't see any patrol of cars. There was no heavy police, what they call it, heavy police presence there. So I was really took back by that, knowing that this happened. They should have really, been out there.
Have you felt the police department has been visible? I know the chief and two of the assistant chiefs are out of town for 3 weeks or more. Has that been a factor or no?
I'm not sure. I know because I went down myself. I went down looking for our chief myself, to share what happened and what I felt about it myself and
And what
another
happened?
alder. We had a meeting with Assistant Chief Generoso.
How did that go?
It was okay. I'm the type of person, you can talk to me. I hear what you're saying to me, and I know if you are talking to me out of true concern and love. So
And what did you
it
think?
was okay. I didn't think it was good. I really, the way he talked with myself and
Was this at the police station?
yes.
And you went to speak about the Tyreek murder?
Yeah, I went to speak about what happened to my young lady, the little girl who was 14 that was with Tyreek that night. I went to talk about the way she was treated.
How was she treated?
Well, her family says to me they had her at the police station from like 10 to 3 in the morning. Assistant Generoso said it was like 10 to 1:30. And then the family said to me, they didn't even give her anything to really clean up herself because there was blood on her because she tried to, Tyreek asked her to pick him up, stand him to his feet. So, blood was all over her. So she was like that.
And the police never let her wash the blood off?
No. To my understanding, Chief Generoso said to me, oh, they had to do this because of evidence. They didn't want no one to start talking with her or, whatever was on her was, like evidence. And I just felt like that was not nice for a 14-year-old to be treated like that. So that's why I went
Well, did
down.
they have Yale Charlotte study with her or anything?
Oh, yeah. Someone, he said to me, came over from Yale Child Study, a doctor came over.
And what did the family say about that?
They didn't really talk on that piece of it. But I don't know if they didn't even really give the young lady protection, our police department.
What should they have done?
I think they should have given her protection.
What do you mean by protection?
Because they said that they would harm her if they seen her.
Who said that?
That was the talk, they say that was the talk of the streets that had got out, that they would harm this young lady.
And why would they want to harm her?
I don't know. But,
so she asked for
but
police
she was a
protection?
witness. She was the witness.
So did she ask the police for protection and she didn't get it?
They didn't offer it to her. And the family, you know how we are. The people really are sort of frightened of our police department when they get down there. They're not sure of them. So whatever the police asked or did, that's what they accepted. To
So
my
what did she
understanding
generate?
from
So you said you didn't. So when did you go see Chief Generoso about that?
Oh, I can't remember the day, Paul, but I went like a couple of days after. You know, the family was talking to me right along.
Mhm.
Her family, the young girl's family, and then I went down to talk to him. But it was just like maybe 2 days after the fact.
So what would you have liked instead? Would you have liked to have met with Chief Campbell or
Yeah, I went down to talk to my chief. Yes.
to Campbell?
Yeah,
And
Campbell.
what did you call
Chief
him?
Campbell. I had my aide send a letter to him, but
And what
because I
happened?
learned he was out of town.
Mhm.
When I went to seek for him. I learned he was out of town. Him and Assistant Chief, I forgot the other,
Casanova and Reyes.
Reyes.
And so what did you think about that?
I just felt alone because I said, now who do I go to now? And then when my aide sent a letter over, an email over, I learned that Generoso was the charge person. And when I did, I made the appointment. Myself and another Alder Furlow, he went with me to be with me, to support me there.
And you said the meeting did not go well.
I didn't think it did because of the way he handled me, the things he said and how he said them. So I just took the information and went on.
So how's the girl doing?
To my understanding, she's okay. I was waiting for after Tyreek's funeral and everything that we were doing for him so I could concentrate now on her and her family. So that's what I'm doing now.
She's been threatened.
Well, I don't know if she heard the threat, but that was the talk, that she was the witness, and if they seen her, that they would hurt her as well.
Wow, that's heavy stuff.
Yeah. So, but it's a hurting thing, and to me, you know, the kind of person I am, Tyreek is my son too. So, I was out at the hospital with the mom. That was my first time meeting her. I said to her, when you moved into the ward, if you would have registered to vote, I would have picked you up right away, because they always send me a list and I go out to visit the people who come into the ward. But I heard through my district manager, Shafiq, that she was at the hospital. So I made my way there, introduced myself to her, you know, took flowers. I did a stuffed animal, which I did a dog for Tariq. I didn't know he loved dogs, but she said he did. And then after that, I just stayed with her. I would go over to her house, take her for a ride, just take her out so she could, you know, relax away from her surroundings. Because she said if the children seen her cry, then they will want to, you know, get angry and do something. So she said, and so I told her, now you can just cry, whatever you want to do. Now you are with me and we're away from the house, and whatever you want to do, you can do it. You're grieving with me. And we became close friends. And I want you to know this. I want people to know Ward 20 made sure they had dinner. We took cooked food to them. We didn't buy it, but the neighbors cooked their meals and we took it to their homes. The day of the funeral, everybody got together. We had food there. We ministered to that family.
Speaking of ministering to families, you have only a few minutes left, but you're very active. You and your husband runs a church, Grace and Peace International Ministries on Star Street near Shelton, across from the River Corridor, and you built up that church. You fixed an old abandoned factory. You got a lot next door. How are things going over there?
Oh, it's going good.
That's a lovely place.
Oh, thank you. And I tell you, we have had all kind of services. The Red Cross came and we did classes out of there for our community, where we put up smoke detectors in people's homes. We had our young people learn how to do that. We had mental health classes out of there. We had our we have We go out on the doors on Wednesdays and we minister
They're
to
the doors
the
again.
people. Yeah, we love being on the doors.
Yes.
Barbara, you go to the
My
doors too,
husband-
huh?
Yes.
And the church, we minister out. The doors open for whoever. I've taught the people how to go on doors, and we go on, and they enjoy it too. So I want to say thank you, Paul, for everything, having me here and who you are.
Well, I always enjoy hearing about what you're up to, Delphine, Clyburn, and your neighbors in the New Hallville neighborhood. You make our city a better place. You make New Hallville a better place. We're lucky to have you.
Thank you.
So thanks for joining us today at Dateline New Haven. I want to thank today's guests, Alder Delphine Clyburn, who is announcing on Saturday at the Learning Corridor that she's running for a fourth term on the Board of Alders. I want to thank Zalima Harris, who I just met today, who grew up in New Hallville and is doing great things there as well, and Barbara Vereen, who people have known for many years, is someone who makes things happen, most recently with the Cherry Ant Park and many other things as well in the New Hallville neighborhood. Thanks for what you do. Thanks for coming on WNHH Radio. We're going to take it out with the Afro-Semitic Experience performing I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free from the group CD, A Plea for Peace. Now, we know what it's like to be free. We just got to remember to book our flight. Book your flight with us all day and all night long here in WNHH, New Haven's home for community